सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वासुदेवेन्द्र योगेन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुं ब्रह्मं नमाम्यहम्। तत्त्वविवेकः कः? So sorry, Dipiji, I'll try, and then if I stumble a lot, then you pick up. Okay. तत्त्वविवेकः कः? आत्मा सत्यं तदन्यत् सर्वं मिथ्य इति।
आत्मा सत्यं
तदन्यत्
सर्वं मिथ्येति। आत्मा सत्यं तदन्यत् सर्वं मिथ्येति।
आत्मा सत्यं तदन्यत् सर्वं मिथ्येति।
आत्मा कः?
आत्मा कः?
स्थूलसूक्ष्मकारणशरीराद् व्यतिरिक्तः
स्थूलसूक्ष्मकारणशरीराद् व्यतिरिक्तः
पञ्चकोशातीतः सन्
पञ्चकोशातीतः सन् अवस्थात्रयसाक्षी
तच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपः सन्
सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपः सन्
यस्तिष्ठति स आत्मा
यस्तिष्ठति स आत्मा
स्थूलशरीरं किम्
स्थूलशरीरं किम्
पञ्चीकृत पञ्चमहाभूतैः कृतम्
पञ्चीकृत पञ्चमहाभूतैः कृतम्
सत्कर्मजन्यम् सुखदुःखादिभोगायतनं शरीरम्
सुखदुःख आदि भोगायतनं शरीरम्
अस्ति जायते वर्धते विपरिणमते
अपक्षीयते
विनश्यति इति
षड्विकारवदेतत्
स्थूलशरीरम् सूक्ष्मशरीरं किम्
सूक्ष्मशरीरं किम्
अपञ्चीकृत
पञ्चमहाभूतैः कृतम्
सत्कर्मजन्यम्
सुखदुःख आदि भोगसाधनम् पञ्चज्ञानेन्द्रियाणि पञ्चकर्मेन्द्रियाणि पञ्चप्राणादयः मनश्चैकं बुद्धिश्चैका एवं
सप्तदशकलाभिः सह यत्तिष्ठति तत् सूक्ष्मशरीरम्
यतिष्ठति तत् सूक्ष्म शरीरम
ज्ञान इन्द्रियाणि
ज्ञान इंद्रियाणि
श्रोत्रं त्वक्चक्षुः
श्रोत्रम श्रोत्रम त्वच्चक्षुः
रसनाघ्राणम् इति
रसनाघ्राणम् इति
पञ्चज्ञानेन्द्रियाणि
पंचज्ञाने इंद्रियाणि
श्रोत्रस्य दिक्देवता
श्रोत्रस्य दिग्देवता
त्वचो वायुः
त्वचो वायुः
चक्षुषः सूर्यः
चक्षुषः सूर्यः
रसनाया वरुणः
रसनाया वरुणः
घ्राणस्य अश्विनौ
घ्राणस्य अश्विनौ
इति ज्ञानेन्द्रियदेवताः
इति ज्ञाने इन्द्रियदेवताः
श्रोत्रस्य विषयः शब्दग्रहणम्
श्रोत्रस्य विषयः शब्दग्रहणम्
त्वचो विषयः स्पर्शग्रहणम्
त्वचो विषयः स्पर्शग्रहणम्
चक्षुषो विषयः रूपग्रहणम्
चक्षुषो विषयः रूपग्रहणम्
रसनाया विषयः रसग्रहणम्
रसनाया विषयः रसग्रहणम्
घ्राणस्य विषयः गन्धग्रहणम् इति
घ्राणस्य विषयः गन्धग्रहणम् इति
कर्म इन्द्रियाणि
कर्म इन्द्रियाणि
वाक्पाणिपादपायु
वाक्पाणिपादपायु
उपस्थानि इति पञ्चकर्मेन्द्रियाणि
उपस्थानि इति पंचकर्म कर्म इन्द्रियाणि
वाचो देवता वह्निः
वाचो देवता वह्निः
हस्तयोरिन्द्रः
हस्तयोरिन्द्रिय sorry ma'am could you repeat again
हस्तयोरिन्द्रः
हस्तयोरिन्द्रः
पादयोर्विष्णुः
पादयोर्विष्णुः
पायोर्मृत्युः
मृत्युः
उपस्थस्य प्रजापतिः
उपस्य प्रजापतिः
इति कर्मेन्द्रियदेवताः
इति कर्मे इन्द्रियदेवताः
वाचो विषयः भाषणम्
वाचो विषयः भाषणम्
पायोर्विषयः वस्तुग्रहणम्
पायोर्विषयः वस्तुग्रहणम्
पादयोर्विषयः गमनम्
पादयोर्विषयः गमनम्
पायोर्विषयः मलत्यागः
पायोर्विषयः मलत्यागः
उपस्थस्य विषयः आनन्द इति
उपस्थस्य विषयः आनन्द इति
कारणशरीरं किम्
कारणशरीरं किम्
अनिर्वाच्य
अनिर्वाच्य
अनादि अविद्यारूपम्
अविद्यारूपम्
शरीरद्वयस्य कारणमात्रम्
शरीरद्वस्य कारणमात्रम् शरीरद्वयस्य कारणमात्रम्
सत्स्वरूपाज्ञानम्
तत्स्वरूपज्ञानम्
निर्विकल्पकरूपम्
निर्विकल्पकरूपम्
यदस्ति तत्कारणशरीरम्
यदस्ति तत्कारणशरीरम्
Great, thank you. So we are continuing with Karana Shariram, also called the causal body. What is not Atma is being shown in a condensed way by the process of negation, so that the imperceivable, yet an ever-evident Atma can be recognized. As I gave you the example, when there are a mixture of seeds, different kinds, and you know that there are 10 seeds there, and you know about 9 seeds, but you don't know what the 10th seed is. So how do you separate? If I ask you that 10 seed is the hemp seed, and you don't know what it looks like, but you know what sunflower seed is, what pumpkin seed is, what sesame seed is, what mustard seed is, etc., what cumin seed, you know all the other seeds. So what is the process of knowing the hemp seed? One way is that you start eliminating what you know and saying this is not obviously the hemp seed because you know what it is. So through the process of negation, Vedanta helps us recognize the ever-evident experience, but somehow we miss the recognition of it. Because we miss the recognition of it, we tend to not identify it. Our attention remains with what we know. What is evident, but somehow not recognized and therefore remains unknown, therefore just not identifiable. I don't know its presence, even though it is there. I don't recognize it because I don't know about it. So in a group of 10 seeds, I don't know the hemp seeds are there till someone tells me to pick out the hemp seed. I just take it as a group of seeds and I have seen uppar se and I know what all seeds are there, and those that I know, my attention remains on the seeds that are there till someone points to me that there is possibility of a seed also there, but you are not recognizing it. So pick it up. That process with which you start identifying by negation of what you already know and is evident also. That process was called neti neti. Not this, not this, not this. So you are saying the sunflower seed is not hemp seed. You are saying the pumpkin seed is not hemp seed. You are saying the mustard seed is not hemp, etc. So then obviously whatever will be left, the 9 seeds that you know of, you have removed them. Whatever is left by default must be the 10th seed. And then you can start inquiry on it once you have started to identify what that 10th seed is. Then you can start the you can start the inquiry on what really it is further. When you have now placed it, ye hai kya? In the same way, Atma is a very evident experience equated to the hemp seed. It is there now. But somehow I'm caught up. My attention is only with all the other seeds that I know, which is what now the author has started helping us identify them. So he said, finishing off the previous, Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, to start off with. So you know what is Sthula Shariram, what are its parts? This is not Atma, removed it. So the Sthula Shariram is your sunflower seeds. Sukshma Shariram is your pumpkin seeds. Now he has come to Karana Shariram, and to say what is Karana Shariram, yes, it is also in my evidence because Sthula Shariram is in my evidence, Sukshma Shariram is in my evidence. So is the Karana Shariram in my evidence. Though, of course, in our everyday life, we don't pay attention to all these things and we are not really much interested in knowing them. But the fact is, it remains in evidence. So the author is trying to help us understand that. What is Karana Shariram? He says Karana Shariram is avidya rupam. It is in the manner of, it is in the form of avidya. Avidya is what? Of what? Simply translated, avidya means lack of vidya, not vidya. जहां विद्या नहीं है उसी को अविद्या कहा है. So absence of knowledge, lack of knowledge is avidya. Of what? What natural? It cannot be avidya of gardening. Why is my plant drying away when I am watering it? I do not know. So there is this discussion going on in a group that my palm tree, I'm watering it properly, but it is still drying off. What can be the reasons? Avidya hai. That avidya is not karana shariram, means it is not the avidya which is going to help me identify Atma. It is still avidya, but it is not helping me to identify Atma. So what avidya is it? किसका ज्ञान मेरे पास नहीं है जिसको हम अविद्या कहेंगे? And the author says Sat Swarupa Ajnanam. The knowledge of nature, your own nature being of pure existence. Sat translated as pure existence. Your Swarupa Jnanam, Swarup ka ज्ञान, आपका essential ज्ञान, आपका स्वरूप का ज्ञान. Who are you? Who or what is your essence? What is your truth? इसका ज्ञान नहीं होना, अज्ञान, itself is avidya. So very clearly he has defined, when you do not know your swarup as sat, it is ajnanam. What else is it? We started first by saying it is actually the karan of sharira dvaya. That word is dvaya. Dvaya, two, the two shariras. What are the two shariras? Stula sharir, sukshma sharir. Karan kaha hai na isko? Karan sharir. So what is it a karan of? Stula sharir and sukshma sharir. Karan means what? Cause. Cause, if it is a karan of sharira dvaya, the sharira dvaya becomes the effect. Karya means whatever I am identifying as my gross and my subtle body has a root, has a cause in its root form, and from there it has emerged. The example we gave was the seed and the tree. The entire tree is the gross form. It gives fruits. The fruits have further seeds in it, etc. The cycle is maintained within it. And we don't identify a Sukshma Shariram there as we identify in a human form. So just to understand for its own sake that the entire expression of tree is actually dormant, latent in its seed form. In that seed is the entire tree, undifferentiated, which means the tree that I see with all the flowers and the fruits and the twigs and the branches and the leaves and that it gives shade and that it takes the water and then it has the process of, forgotten that word, photosynthesis, with which it takes in its nutrition, etc. उसकी एक अपनी biology हो रही है अंदर, with which the life is sustained in that tree, whichever form it is. But there is a sustenance cycle of that tree itself. This entire physiology of the tree, if you can call it, the metabolism of the tree that you call it, has come from where? It's come from its dormant state. It was all in its potential state in that seed. That tiny seed held in it the capacity to mature itself, to manifest the entire differentiated tree. This differentiated is vikar. It's called vikalp in another form, another word. Differentiation seen in the tree, seed, when it manifested itself, is now vikalp hai uska, vikar ho gaya hai. It is in its dormant state in the seed, which means where the vikar is yet not manifested. Nirvikalpa. It is in its undifferentiated state. Just to explain a little bit on this, you see a lump of clay. I'm explaining the word nirvikalpa a little more. You see a heap of clay. What is the potential of this clay? Is all kinds of clay modifications. Many more than this. All kinds of clay modification, very interesting. How have they emerged? Is from this one heap of clay. As a manifested, now different names and forms. One is a cup, one is a dish, one is a saucer, one is a vase, one is a vessel, water pot, etc. All names and forms are a vikalpa. They are a vikar of that one clay. In the clay state, where are all these actually held? All the vikar. It is in a potential state. The same clay I can make a clay elephant. The same clay I can make a clay vase. The same clay I can make a cooking vessel. I can make anything out of this clay. It holds in it an infinite potential. Once the vikar has happened, it is beginning to have a structure, a grossification. And once that vikar is complete, now this vikar is limited. While clay holds an unlimited potential, the vikar has now become a limitation. Means if my vikar is of a glass, a cup, glass, it has a name with its form, और ये विकार का एक अपना फंक्शन हो गया है जो उसकी लिमिटेशन बन जाता है. I can't use it for too many things. But in its clay state, where all this is remaining, that potential, that capacity for it to manifest in a structure, expression, that is Karana state of this manifested pot. उसका कारण अवस्था है वो. Causal state है. It is in the form of a potential. And once that potential begins to emerge, it is now a defined, concrete, structured expression having a name, a form, a function, and in human form has a kriya, actions, because our gross body has potentials of actions preceded by the Sukshma Sharir. Where has all this come from? From its Karana Avastha. Karana Avastha has also generally, I'm only bringing in a word which in my classes in particular, I don't use it very often. But when you hear Vedanta a lot of times from a lot of other sources, it is a popular term, has gained a lot of popularity because it is very enchanting a word. But when you go deeper into Vedanta, you don't find its utility much. So I do not prefer to use the term, but it is still there. So it is worthwhile just knowing it. I will not be emphasizing upon it, but I'm just completing the topic. Another word for it is also given as Vasana. Vasana means your potential dormant characteristics from which this gross and subtle body have emerged. It's your specific individuality. It is your specific nature, which has in its dormant state, resting, that dormancy has been accumulated by your own past karma and sanskar. Why do we think differently today? All of us are different beings. No two human beings are alike. We have different tastes. We think different. We pursue different things. We like different things. We dislike different things. We have different weaknesses. We have different strengths. We are entirely individuated. Like the same apple tree, no two trees are alike, but they're all apple trees. They all give apple fruit. But no two trees are absolutely same. In the same way, where has this differentiation come from? They say that branch of understanding says it's come from your own vasana. And vasana is actually a term only to describe. Do not think there is something tangible out there. Just as in a seed, you can't find the differentiation, but it is in potential state. In the same way, if you go into more traditional form of learning of Vedanta, you understand that all vasana is nothing but accumulation of my own karma, sanskars born from my karma, that I am accumulating back inside, as in I just accumulate them, where they remain dormant and they erupt again. So my specific tendencies, my specific characteristics, my specifications, I would call it. In that sense, we're all designers. We're all designer beings. We all have very specific traits to ourselves. We're all specified beings. We have specifications that we have. Where are they all? They are in your Karana Avastha. Means, kabhi kabhi hota hai na, as we keep growing older, see, there are a lot of characteristics that children show. We as in our child state showed. And then as we keep growing older, we suddenly find our interests have changed. Remember when you ask a child, kya banna chahte ho? And then there are this whole list of things that they want to become. We ourselves must have said, I want to be this, then I want to every year. And it's an entertainment for most parents because they know this is going to keep changing as the child keeps growing. And then when it continues, even if you're after 25 and 30, you're still keeping the list on, then now there is something missing because you're supposed to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life. That means of all the potentials that you saw in yourself, I would say, I said I would become an actor, I would become an air hostess, I would become this, and I would become that, I would become a doctor, then I'll become an engineer, no, then I'll become this, and I'll become an explorer, no, I'll become a marine explorer, then no, I'll become a space explorer. So many things, but finally you'll have to, of all these potentials that you saw in yourself, you have structured it out as you increase, as you grow up. So this specific to yourself, where is it It's in your causal state. That's it. There is nothing much important about it. That causal avastha has emerged. Another term for it has been what now? We are saying, we are defining what is Karana Sharir. And Karana Sharir we started by saying is Avidya Rupam. That means this entire state of my Karana Sharir, which has given risen to this gross and Sthula Sharir, is Avidya Rupam. So any of my characteristics that I call myself with as an individual, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that, I'm सब कुछ जो मैं अपने में अपने आप को देखूं at any point of time, if it is a limitation, a vikar, how do I identify it? It's a vikar. It's not in its potential state. It is now in a defined. If I say I am a nice person, what does that mean? It means I am not a bad person. I'm defined myself as a nice person. But definitely I'm only a nice person to few people. Not everybody sees me as a nice person. Definitely there will be a few people who don't see me as a nice person. That means what? That however in my mind I have this cognition of me, the infinitely nice person, is actually a limitation to my own being. I see myself in a limited state, etc. Therefore, all that this implies is Karana Sharira is holding in it a nirvikari avastha still. This nirvikari you, from where all this potential emerges, and then it becomes a seed. You will see the cycle later on. Then it becomes a seed of my karma, and then the etc., etc., etc. And then once I've done a karma, I definitely become a bhogi of it. I have to face the consequences of my own action. Good or bad, doesn't matter. So all of this rests in my Karan Sharir, which is in the form of avidya. Avidya of what? Of my Swarupam being Sat. Then it said, another word, when did it begin? In the definition itself. When did this avidya really, why did I put myself in this state? Because once I have, now you see the cycle of Karana Sharira, bringing up Sukshma Sharira, bringing up Sthula Sharira, with which I now do karma. This karma now I will become a owner of, enjoyer of, good or bad. I have to bear it, the fruits of it, and it comes back to me, again goes into my Karana. This is a cycle. Seems unbreakable. But this cycle, they said, is actually born from avidya. Karan Sharir का कारण क्या है? कारण शरीर को ही अविद्या कहा है. तो जब तक अविद्या है, तब तक ये cycle है. Question is, when did this cycle start? Why am I? Because most of us, having put ourselves in a limited framework of who I am, thereby we expect an unlimited state of joy and happiness. I first define myself in a limitation, and then I expect in life that I am going to get unending happiness. Once I have seen myself in a state of limitation, I am but naturally going to ask myself, when things are not in my favor and I am not in a very happy mood or a happy state of mind, things are not going favorable and I am disturbed or I am agitated, etc. I will ask myself, ये क्यों हो रहा है? ये कैसे हो रहा है? ये कब शुरू हुआ? How did all this start? How did it all begin? When did it start? If you say this is a cycle, when did the cycle start? When did I put myself in this condition of seeing myself in a limitation? If you say Atma is evident, तो मुझे आत्मा क्यों नहीं दिखी? Why did I see myself only as a gross and a subtle body? Why do I see myself as mind and thoughts and emotions and feelings and hurts and angers and expectations and fears? The list is endless. I mean, the list is endless. I see myself as all this all the time. तो मुझे आत्मा क्यों नहीं अपने आप को लगा कभी? When did it start? Answer Shastra gives us is it's anadi. Anadi means it's a beginningless cycle. You cannot say when it started. Why? Because for anything to start in time, starting means it has to start in time. If it has started in time, then there must be something preceding it. What could have been preceding it? Now, when you see the avidya, mera ignorance, so-called, lack of knowledge, kab shuru hua? For this, you bring back the example of the rope and the snake. When did you begin to see it as snake? Did it start in time? Or the minute you saw rope and you actually did not recognize it as rope, simultaneously you saw it as something else, and in this case happens to be snake. It's a very subtle point and needs a little concentration and following. Even if you're hearing it for the first time, Vedanta is anchored on this. Sometimes it may take a few hearings before the clarity dawns. When did the snake appear? In my perception, it appeared simultaneously the minute I saw. It was not that I saw something and then there was blankness here because I don't recognize what it is. There should have been darkness and blankness. And then suddenly I said, oh, I see a rope. I see a snake. Then I could have said, I saw at a point. But I see it simultaneously. See the snake the moment I don't recognize the rope. These two are like two sides of a coin. The minute I don't recognize a rope, I see a snake. This is what they say is this simultaneous appearance of something that looks so real to me that it can give me horripilations, it can give me fear, it can give me anxiousness. It's a snake, it can give me a jhatka, and that fear erupts immediately because it's a snake. This is called pratipatti krama. Krama otherwise means sequence. Pratipatti means something that is actually not following the other. It doesn't have a sequence. You're seeing a snake instead of a rope is not sequential. It's not something that one follows the other. If one follows the other, it is said kala krama, in time. Kal mein wo badalta hai. It has a vikar in time. Like, for example, a clay became a pot. How? Modified. Where there was clay, you saw a pot now. There is a modification there. Even though the clay is still there, but there is a modification there now. It's a pot now. In time, it underwent apparent change. You saw it. Better example actually would be, Shastra says it, Shankara gives it, is milk and curd. In milk, in milk, in time, through some change, there is curd. कालक्रम बदल गया है. But the entire manifestation of me, as I see myself with limitation, is not something that happened in time. Time itself is recognized because of my Sukshma Shariram. It cannot be understood by it cannot understand my current Shariram because time itself is a product of my own buddhi. I experience it as long as I have a buddhi. That's why when I go to sleep, I don't experience time. In sleep, do we experience time? No. But in waking, we experience time. We say we experience time. We have cognition of time. So time is a feature that I recognize because of buddhi. But buddhi itself has come because of avidya, karan sharir. When did it start? It did not start in a sequence that avidya hai, fir kuch bana, fir kuch bana, fir kuch bana, like from seed to a tree. My perception of seeing a snake instead of a rope is equatable to me seeing myself in a limited state instead of me seeing myself as Atma. When did this start? It's simultaneous. The minute I don't recognize Atma, the minute I don't recognize the rope, there is no time frame there. It's not restricted in time. It is not bound to time. Time has no consideration here. Avidya is not restricted in time, not restricted by time. In fact, time is seen with avidya. As long as there is avidya, I will see the cycle, and cycle is all time. It's time based, no? I was a child when I grew up. This is all time based. So as long as there is avidya, there is time seen. This being a simultaneous thing, it's called anadi. When did I begin seeing the snake? I can't say there was a event that happened. Big Bang didn't start creation. It's not an event in time. That I miss seeing myself as who I am truly in my Swarup, my essential nature. When I miss seeing my essential nature, which is Atma, I invariably simultaneously project on it this limited form and being, idea of me being limited. The whole thing is a cycle. And how do you explain this? He says, this Sat Swarupam, not being in time, is misperceived as your own gross body, subtle body, and it goes back into its own latent form, and this latent comes back into its own modification. Then in my Jagrat Avastha, I do some karmas, I do something, and then it goes back into my sleep Avastha. I mean, into my Karan Avastha, not sleep, sorry, into my Karan Avastha. This cycle goes up and down, means manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. Therefore, this cycle seems to be beginningless, but it is not endless. Because Karana Sharir has come from avidya, means avidya is Karana Sharir. It's not come from, it is Karana Sharir. And that Karana Sharir, avidya, as long as you have avidya, Pratipatti Krama, avidya will bring up Sukshma and Sthula Sharir. You will see yourself as limited name and form again and again and again and again. This is the most fascinating reflection. Very rarely does anybody get this reflection, and it's one of the simplest forms of reflection. But to anchor in this reflection takes some guts, I would say. What is it that is the reflection? In this lifetime, I have this name, I have this form. I will have some years to live. I have some, by my own thing, I have brought some years. And then what? So-called gross sharir goes. You'll understand by the end of the text, Sukshma sharir doesn't go. Goes where? Goes into its Karan state. Karan state is holding all my account. You can call it account. All my accounts are there, held in, all my karmas and sanskars are held within my Karan sharir. From this Karana sharir, again, another sharir comes up. I'll again have another name and form. I'll have new relations. I'll have new friends. I'll have everything that's going on. I'll have lots of things that's going on. I'll have everything new starting. But me, the sense of identity continues. And with this, again, I start the karmas, I start quest, I start something, and etc., etc., etc. Whole of the cycle continues every janma after janma. I can be this form, another janma, I'll be another form, I'll have another set of parents, I'll have another set of children, I'll have another set of relations. Will there ever be a time that any structured coming togetherness of family, friends, relations, pursuits, everything as I grow up will be perfect ever? That is, I'll say now I have got it. I'm complete, I'm fulfilled, I'm ever happy. This makes one a very anchored seeker. ये विचार ही जीवन में तुम्हारा जीवन का क्वालिटी बदल देता है. इतना विचार भी तुम्हारे जीवन में तुम्हारा नजरिया बदल देता है कि क्या कभी भी ऐसा परफेक्ट मॉडल बन जाएगा where everything will fall into place like, jigsaw puzzle coming into like those 52 pieces, 100 and 1008 pieces of those, you fit them and then I have now got a complete picture. Will this ever happen? This is where Vedanta makes a complete breakthrough in a person's life if somebody is a little intelligent and alert and has a little Viveka Shakti. जिंदगी बदल जाती है उसकी पूरी की पूरी because they understand. कितने भी जन्म ले लूं, कितना भी रूप बदल लूं, कितनी भी सुंदरता आ जाए, कितना भी कुछ भी हो जाए, कितना पैसा आ जाए, कितना नाम आ जाए, कितनी सब कुछ कोई ऐसा मॉडल आ जाए जो परफेक्ट हो जाए, even that I will find a flaw in because avidya janya karana sukshma bhogi can never be complete. So I will find incompleteness in anything and everything. However beautiful an environment I'll be given, however fine and perfect everything happens in my life, I will still discover some flaws in it. Why? Because actually it's nothing to do, it's not my mistake. It's that avidya sustained itself is making me see myself as a limited being, and then I am ever in quest of happiness from external sources or from everywhere, anywhere. And however much name and forms I have, completeness never comes. And this is where the seeker changes his direction forever, probably, when the penny drops. That it is not in those external gains and anything. Forget external. Yahan to mera Karan sharir is sustained only by my lack of knowledge. If somebody understands this much well enough, I presume you get electrocuted, because then there is an urgency to know, ye Sat Swarup ka gyan kya hai fir? Because if this alone is the solution, if this alone is the answer to end all this, because avidya is beginningless, but it ends in Vidya. Vidya of Satswarup. Then what is Vidya? Atma kaha. Knowing that Atma ends this entire perceived Jagat, perceived dunya with all its flaws and its hopes and its expectations, etc., etc. So this Vidya has an end for sure in Gyan. Now, just as again a byproduct, like I said, there is a word Vasana that gets very popular in schools of Vedantic learning, and some of you may be hearing, and some of you hear other sources later on, and then you would sometimes some person ever says, but we were not taught that. So I just introduced the word Vasana, but in my vision, that word has no significance because it has no relation at all to Atma Gyan. It is just a aupcharika shabda to say where is all this held. It's not irrelevant, but it's just another way of explaining something which is already explained otherwise. In the same way, there are many types of Vedantic. As you keep getting more mature in your listening, you can fine tune the differences. There is another way in which people use avidya, which again I do not follow at all. I'm making it very clear, but you may hear these words because a lot of teachers use it in different ways. They say avidya is actually of two kinds. What am I saying? What I have learned and what I'm saying and what I believe in completely is avidya cannot have two types. Avidya is simply one kind, and that is lack of knowledge. But just again to explain away, like I said, I don't know about gardening. Then what is that ignorance called? Is it the same as self-ignorance? वो भी तो ignorance है, वो भी lack of knowledge है. So are these lack of knowledges two kinds? Some student must have asked some teacher in some satsang. So the teacher must be helpless after having given, I am presuming, having given all the explanation. If the student still asks the question, the teacher must have helplessly said, no, this is not that avidya. This is a different kind of an avidya which you can gain through senses. That knowledge which you can gain through senses, but you're ignorant of at this point, that avidya is called Tula Vidya. What is Tula Vidya? Tula Vidya means that avidya which I can gain knowledge of through my senses. But at this point, I do not know it. So if you ask me, how do you make banoffee pie? I don't know banoffee pie. So how do you make banoffee pie? Where is the question of me knowing how to make banoffee pie? So banoffee pie, I'm listening to it for the first time. So now what is it? It's ignorant. I'm ignorant. I've never heard of this before. Banoffee pie. What is banoffee pie? So I don't know about it. Not knowing banoffee pie, when I know it, will I know my Satswarupa? I will only know how to make banoffee pie. So that particular knowledge which only removes that particular ignorance of that particular subject, that ignorance or that lack of knowledge is called Tula Vidya. Different from it, they say, is Mool Avidya, the root avidya. This root avidya is actually what is lack of your true nature. Satswarupa Agyan. For us in Vedanta, there are no two avidyas. In fact, Mool Avidya is also not actually a primary thing. Primary point to mention avidya is only that Vidya is lacking of Satswarupa. Somehow over the period of time, these words have become very important and they themselves start conveying as important causes. जब तक अविद्या है तब तक हम क्या कर सकते हैं? People will say that. हम तो हैं ही अविद्या में, हमारे से क्या हो सकता है? हम क्या बना? So it becomes a justification. The idea of avidya, Shastra gives us to get vidya. But we take avidya as a cause itself of everything. So Moola Vidya is said to be the root avidya, from which Sthula Vidya also comes. Means any kind of avidya can come. When you combine word Mool and avidya, it becomes Moola Vidya. Sthula Vidya becomes Sthula Vidya. Both this, only important factor is avidya is in the manner of not knowing your Swarupa. This may have implications in the sense that when I do not, I may likely mistake all form of ignorance as the same as Sat Swarupa ignorance. So Shastra says, Sat Swarupa ignorance is the only ignorance which can eradicate your cyclical existence, not Sthula Vidya. So any amount of gaining knowledge of the world, about the world, in fact, that's how people get Vairagyam. When you hear true seekers, they lost interest in education because the minute you identify that my bondage, my suffering cannot be eradicated by my more and more and more knowledge gained. Even in Vedanta, people just accumulate knowledge, thinking more knowledge will make me more wiser. Vedanta is in the form of learning, reflecting, seeing it. Preeti ji, your mic is on. You're just learning and reflecting and seeing the truth of it, making your, focusing to see it as they are showing it. So this avidya, which is actually Karana Shariram, is sometimes also called Ajnanam. There are different words with which the same Karan Sharir, avidya, Ajnan, Avyakrit, Avyakta, Anirvachaniyam, and later you will hear another word, Maya. These are all meaning the same. And what is the meaning? Sat Swarupa Ajnanam. कान इधर से पकड़ा कि इधर से पकड़ा, वो भी कभी कभी जरूरी होता है कि कभी आप इधर से पकड़ के कुछ समझाओ. So when the word Anirvachaniyam is used, it is used to convey that it is indescribable. Atma is indescribable as being conditioned. It is indescribable because you cannot limit it to words. It is indescribable in rasification. It is neither Sat nor Asat, you can say, nor is it a combination. So all the possible. Anirvachaniyam means just simply to say that it is inexplicable. It is not something that cannot be understood, recognized, but the fact that it is another category in itself. It's a third category. Jo, we called it as Mithya. It is not Sat, it is not Asat, it is Mithya. What is snake? You cannot say it is not there. You cannot say it is there. Such a category which is indescribable in the polarity in which Buddhi works. Buddhi only works in polarity. That's a limitation of our equipment. It works only in polarity because third category is not operating like that, but it is that I'm experiencing the fear of snake, but there is no snake. That is Mithya. So Anirvachaniyam is used to use that. And Avyakta, if I go back to the slide of the pot and the clay, I go back to that slide. What is the entire process of clay here? All these spots here in this clay? Avyakta, unmanifest. I said in a previous class, vyakta word is vyakti. Vyakti, Hindi में हम कहते हैं ये व्यक्ति है. English doesn't convey all this. Vyakti word itself says जो व्यक्त हो गया है, manifest हो गया है, means your causal body is now manifest. That manifest specific being is a vyakti. That vyakti in its causal state is avyakt. My traits and my feelings and my things, very often when people are very tired and exhausted or when they're confused and, what do? I know of one person who said many years ago, if I'm ever in doubt, she said, I keep it in my mind before I go to sleep and then I drop it. And when I wake up in the morning, I get the answer. So I let my mind run over the problem or the issue, and then I wake up in the morning and I get my answer. Now, what happened to this whole thing that you were thinking of yesterday? It's gone into avyakta. And next day again, it's become vyakta, manifest. Where is the tree in the seed? Avyakta. Where is it? When it is manifest, it's avyakta. So, avyakta, avyakriti is the process. All these are kind of synonyms. They refer to the same thing. And this same thing is the very fulcrum for Vedanta. What is Karana Sharir? I'm summarizing now, 2 minutes. What is Karana Sharir? He said in the definition, it is anirvachya, not explainable, definable in the sense that it is not concrete. Yet, it is anadi. It is in the form of avidya, the causal state of my sukshma and the karana sharira, tat swarup ka agyan, and nirvikalpaka rupam. Yat asti tat karana shariram. What exists as this is called karana shariram. Tat, atma. No, that is not atma. So if you see together the entire thought flow, it is subtle, I know. It will need some repetition sometimes. If you see the entire thought flow, then it boils down to one thing, simple thing. My entire sense of personality, individuality is avidya janya. Janya means born of avidya. It is not atma. Simple, just simple. If you want to miss all the technical terms, though they will be very helpful if you follow them gradually or in time or by repeated listening, when you get the sanskar of the words and what they mean, you suddenly realize that it is very possible to sift away anatma, because all of this is going to be anatma. Whatever is mithya is anatma. Sifting away anatma on a chitta shuddh manaha, atma reveals. That atma, the one who knows, is now freed from being caught up in the cycle of birth and death, etc. So with this, we will cycle plus Shanti part.
Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu
सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभय परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः, गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम्। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः, पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी, देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः, ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।